Okay, here we go. Second attempt at this. This is my how to paint Minotaur Space Marines tutorial. And here what we have in front of you is a model from the Betrayal at Cal. He is a Space Marine, of course, and I have assembled him up to assembling the Bolteron and given him an undercoat of Vallejo Black. This is one of the other models that is one stage past that. He is undercoated with the primer, and I have brushed on a thinned coat of Balthazar Gold from Citadel. And here is the end result. So if you follow my tutorial, you'll end up with a Minotaur Space Marine similar, if not exactly the same, as mine. So here we go. This is the undercoated model. Let me give it a little shake. I am using Army Painter Regiment brush because, as you can see, that long bristles, these are fantastic for base coating, for undercoating. Give me just a second while I get some of this by Games Workshop Balthazar Gold. And what you've got to do with this Games Workshop metallic is thin it down. And I could tell you it's one part this, one part that, but what you got to do is, I'm going to attempt to paint this guy on camera. Forgive me if it falls out of frame. But as you can see, I am liberally applying thin down Balthazar Gold. And because these bristles are so long and soft, they reach way down in there. Now, it's pretty difficult for me to do this on camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the camera here, continue to base coat him, and I shall return. Alrighty, YouTubers, I'm back, and real quick, here is the model I was showing you, and as you can see, he is base coated with a very thinned coat of Balthazar Gold. And let me set him down to dry. And here's one from the head of the line that is already dry. That acrylic colors dry really quick. And some of you may ask, why are you base coating with Balthazar Gold when Minotaur's armor is copper? Well, I base coated with Balthazar Gold because to me it's much easier, much more closer, and the highlights I gave on here with the bronze highlight colors really did the trick. And most importantly, the client who these are being painted for is very happy with this color scheme. So I got his okay, and I went ahead and started the entire set. So what I'm going to do now, Agrax Earthshade, even though as you can see there's very little in there, but that is enough for right now. So let me get my older shade brush. These older Games Workshop brushes were much better than the stuff they have now, this wash brush. So let me grab a good amount of Agrax Earthshade. And let's start applying it. Okay. So as you can see, that's what I'm doing. Liberally applying the Agrex Earthshade. Let me get it off camera just real quick. And let me flood this guy with the Agrex Earthshade. I usually swear by the Vallejo colors, and I do. I love their primers, I love their colors, I love their airbrush, their Vallejo air range. I have a whole mess of them. But one thing I do not really care for are their washes. Just my personal preference. I've been using Games Workshop for so long that, you know, you get to become a creature of habit after a while, and what works, works. Okay, so here is the miniature, and I have applied Agrex Earthshade from Citadel all over him. Now what I want to do is wait for him to dry, and when I come back, I'll have the miniature dry, and I'll show you the highlighting process that I use to get the Minotaur color, the old bronze. Also, a lot of folks out there, if you're familiar with the Minotaurs, their armor is copper, so it has that rusty patina all over them. The client requested not to paint that on there, so I will not be doing that in this little tutorial. But if you guys have any questions about how to do that, there's lots of videos online. GW has Duncan showing you how to do one. I think the Apathetic Fish does one. There's lots of guys that do it. If you guys want me to spell it out, I can do that. It's very simple. So I shall return once everything's dry, and we'll go from there. Thanks for watching. Okay, YouTube, I'm back. This is the figure now. After the Agrex Earthshade wash, as you can tell by the base, it was liberally applied. It's 100% dry now. I went ahead and applied the wash, let it dry. In fact, I did it the whole 20 of them. And it is bone dry now, as you can see. So what I'm fixing to do now, I am going to get some Psycho-Rax Browns. And I had been using Brass Scorpion on the test model. And as you can see, one is much brighter than the other. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to go ahead and do that. And when I apply the highlights, I will be back. Okay, YouTube, I'm back. And here is our figure. As you can see, I gave him a pretty good dry brushing of Psycho-Rax Bronze from GW. And that was all over. And the highlights on the edges of the armor, and with the dry brushing, it's kind of more of a heavy dry brush than a regular dry brush. I didn't 100% dry off the brush to do it, and because it's a layer paint, and it went very well over the model. And as you can see, it's provided some really nice highlights to the armor. Now, the last step I'm going to do on the armor is I'm going to dry brush just on certain areas Vallejo Model Air gun. Now, I use this because it's thinned, it's great for dry brushing, and I also brush paint mixed with black the bolt guns and so on and so forth. So I use this, personal preference. but you can use Games Workshop bolt gun metal if you like. Another colors, similar to that. Other manufacturers have the dark gun metal, and so let me get a little of this on my pellet and show you what I'm talking about with the highlight. I just dropped a whole mess of stuff here. Okay. And the dry brush. Okay. So this is going to be more targeted. So I'm dry brushing on the helmet. And on the backpack, trying to get those raised edges. Let me get a little more on here. Now, I don't want to overdo it because once you cover, see, I got I was going to say the tail plate, but no other word comes to mind. Getting the edges. And of course, if your hand slips and you overdo it, which anybody can do, just drop a little Agrax Earthshade on there. Just a little to tone it down. Okay, let's take a closer look at him now. As you can see, his helmet got the highlight pretty well. The codpiece, the knees, the back of the legs, let me get this off camera and just real quick. There. All I did was give it a quick dry brushing. And as you can see, it takes the copperish tone down and adds more of a metallic, plain metallic sheen. Now, this one, I went a little too hard with it. And this is the perfect time to show you the repair I was talking about. Just dab a little Agrax Earthshade over it. Yeah, I guess I should have stayed on camera. I wouldn't have. This is just going to tone it down somewhat. Let me take a look at it. Without the harsh light, the bright outline on it, it looks fantastic, but on camera it doesn't. Well, in my opinion. There we go. Much better. As you can see, the highlights are working really good on this bike. Alright, so I'm going to call this guy's armor complete. I'm not doing anything else to his armor. His armor is going to stay that way. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to block in all the areas that are going to go black. And of course it's going to be the areas between the knees, and some of them they don't have them, and right here between the thigh armor and the groin area, And I think that's going to be it. There is a slight area under the neck, but most people, and me included, don't touch those. So I'm going to paint also with that black gunmetal mix that I was talking about. This, I believe, is to hold the backpack, and the Space Marine would just punch this release, and those would pop off, and his backpack could come off. Um, anyway, so that's what we're gonna do next, and I may go ahead and paint these vents silver. And when I say silver, I'm talking about that dark gunmetal. I'm keeping it dark, not bright, shiny silver. And if you were painting your Minotaurs with the patina, this would be the time to add it. And you could make it look all greenish and the way they're supposed to look. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do this off camera, but you guys know how to do that. Paint those little areas between the armor that need to be painted black. Those little belts that are right there, those little hoses, you can see those. And that chain mechanism, as well as the two little metallic hoses on his helmet. Some of them have 4, some have 2, some have none. Just depends on the helmet that you put on. And of course there's some back there. But detail painting on the armor, that's it. After this, we're going to do the metallics here, like I was saying. And then I'm going to paint the shoulder pads. And Minotaurs have that dullish red hue. Mephiston red is what I'm going to use, and highlight it with a little Evil Sun Scarlet. And the eyes are going to be green. I could have gone red or green. I did green and the client preferred it, so we're going with green. And that's going to be the end of the trip. So I'm going to stop this here and go off camera and paint the black parts. Alright, thank you. Alrighty, YouTube, I am back. Just going to show you I got a little paint on my hand. It's dry though. The liners in between the armor that I painted with a little dot of black, and the chain mechanism thing holding his backpack I painted with a mixture of gun and black, and he's 100% dry. Now, next thing I'm going to tackle, the shoulder pads. I'm going to give them a base coat of Mephiston red. I'm going to let it dry, and I'm going to add some Caribou Crimson shade or wash into the creases right there. The very, not the whole thing. It's going to darken the red too much, and it's going to look weird. Just into the creases, just to give a final like little line darkening shade. And after the Caribou Crimson dries, I'm going to give it a little bit of very thin down Mephiston red, just to bring the color on the outside out. And then Evil Sun Scarlet, a thinned, almost want to say wash, a couple of coats of that, let it dry, just to give it a smooth finish. And that is going to be it for the Space Marine. And the only thing that will be left to do is are his eyes, of course, and the bolters. And we'll be back when I've got that Mephiston red on. Thanks. Alright guys, I'm back, and let me get this sucker in the as you can see, I painted his pauldrons Mephiston red, and I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up, but there is a very thin caribou crimson line. You know what, it may have dried up already, but it's in there, and there he is. So next I'm going to put a light layer of Evil Sun Scarlet over the top of that. And this one particular Marine has a skull on his abdomen armor. I was debating whether painting it gold or silver, and I figured I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay, so after this, I'm going to highlight with some Evil Sun Scarlet, and then I'm going to tackle the eyes. And I'm going to use Caliban Green as a base coat for them. I may just, yeah, you know what I'm going to do? In fact, I'm going to skip that layer. I'm going to just go ahead with Warpstone Glow. It is such a tiny little spot on his helmet, but it does look quite effective once it's dried. Anyway, that's where we are. When I come back, I'm going to have the highlight on there, and I will have the Warpstone Glow in his vision. Let's just call it his eyes. It's been a long day, people. So here we go. Let me finish this guy up and mount the bolter, and that will conclude it. So let me get to work, and I'll be back next video. Okay, we're back. Here we go. I got a nice highlight of Evil Sun Scarlet over the top of that, and I just applied it now. As it continues to cure, it looks like it still has some moisture letting go. It'll darken up a bit, and let me see if I can get any closer. Yeah, there it goes. There you can see the eyes. Very effective little look there. If you hold him to the front, he looks cross-eyed, but if you hold him to the side like that, it looks like the lenses are focusing somewhere. Those aren't really his eyes. I mean, if we're following the meta, I mean, those are some sort of lenses that he would see through. You're not going to see his eyes through there, and they look pretty convincing like that. I do like that. Anyway, there we go. I'm gonna call this guy fini. Let me get the bolter done, and when I come back, I'll show you the model with the bolter, and that shall conclude. And thanks for watching. Alrighty, YouTube, this is the end result of the Minotaur. That if you've been watching this video and painting along with me, this is where you will be. The shoulder pads have big, bright, open space on them. I don't really know what the Minotaur's symbol is. I suppose I could Google it and look it up, but I guess I'm going to leave that up to the client if he wants me to put some decals on there or paint some sort of design or something. I'm not sure. Also, one last thing I did was I gave a small tiny dot of moot green. Yeah, I pronounced that funny. Moot green in the center of each lens, and let's see. I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but that is the, well, what the heck's it called? This is an old one. Let me get the new one. I think this one has been washed off. Insane Detail. Wargamer Insane Detail. And now they have another one called the Psycho Insane Detail, which looks like 3 hairs. It is incredibly small. Anyway, there is the finished product. And I hope you guys like. As you can see, I drilled out the barrel to the bolter. I gave it a metallic black base coat and dry brushed it with gun, and then gave it a what's that? Oh, jeez, forgive me guys. It's known oil. It used to be Badaba Black, but it's now known oil, and that's what I did. This is the end result. If you have any questions or comments, please drop them below. If I forgot to explain anything, drop that down there as well. I will check. I check my YouTube almost daily, multiple times a day, because I watch videos on there, and post videos as well. And if you comment anything and have a question, I'll be glad to answer. So this is it for now. I'm glad you watched. If you want to subscribe, subscribe. If you want to just leave a comment, that's welcome as well. I also have in the back, I have, let me see if I can get him into focus. I'm working on, oh god, okay, it's not working. Yeah, I just shoved him in front of the camera. I kind of tied the camera down, but let's see here. Karos Fate Weaver, I've got him almost done. I'm working on finishing up his staff and gluing it on and then basing him, and he's going to be done. Fantastic model. I should have done a tutorial on that one, but coulda, woulda, shoulda. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.